Hi guys, so today in this great tutorial I'm gonna walk you through your first steps in Figma, assuming that if you are watching this tutorial probably these are your first steps in Figma. So I'm just kind of assuming that. Figma is a web platform, meaning that I can work completely on the browser. I don't have to install anything on my machine except the Chrome browser, of course, in order to work in Figma, which is pretty cool. It does have a desktop app, which I will show as well if you want. But basically, it's a web platform. It's not a traditional software, if I can say it like that, that you just install on your computer and then you can use it. Okay, you can easily sign up with your Gmail account. Do that pretty easy, or you just want to do an email and a password the old school conventional style. That's okay, of course. Each one does whatever he wants and that's fine, whatever suits your needs. I'm just gonna log in, continue with Google, and I just actually made a fresh new email and I registered as a new Figma user to see exactly what you guys will see when you will first log into Figma. Okay, because I didn't do that for a long time, so I just said to myself like, okay, let's see what's going on as a new user, because I didn't see that for a long time. Okay, so I logged in. This is my interface. Again, I'm reminding you that we are working on a web browser. It just you don't see my bookmarks, but it doesn't really matter. You can do it with your bookmarks or without. Any situation, of course, that you are using your browser is great. Okay, it's perfect. What you see here, let me kind of like do a quick walkthrough. So I'm seeing here the recent files, which I don't have any because I still didn't do yet. I'm getting offers for Explore FigJam templates, which I will explain a bit later on the tutorial. What is a FigJam, which I guess maybe it's less of your concern right now, but of course I'll say a few words about it and show you what it does. We're going to focus more on the new design file. An import file, by the way, you can import a .fig file. Okay, you can import it into Figma. It's not open a file by double clicking on it. If someone sends you a .fig file, usually we're just sharing files, but anyway, if someone sends you a file, then you can actually import it here into your Figma. Okay, so I'm gonna close this. It doesn't matter right now. Figma is giving you kind of like a kickstart files that you can start with. Wireframing with Figma, Yariv theme, doesn't really matter honestly. Figma basics, which is pretty cool. FigJam basics, very cool. Again, you can just go inside them and explore it and see what's going on there. And prototyping in Figma. Okay, so these are not tutorials, they're kind of like explanations, on-screen explanations that explain you a bunch of stuff that you can go through and explore by double-clicking on a file. It just goes into that file, and I will go through these panels when we'll open a new file, and you can see you can explore. By the way, hitting the plus or the minus on your keyboard can just make it go zoom in and zoom out very easy, and you can explore whatever. They're giving you some of tryouts and to see how it works, but I think that this is more assuming that you are migrating from other design softwares, so maybe you are familiar with the tools that you are offered here, maybe not. Anyway, we'll go through them in a bit. So to get back, when I'm working in my browser, to get back to my home page actually is clicking here, back to files, and here I am back in my home page, which here I can see all my recent files and my recent work. There are differences between a starter free plan than a pro plan, which is a paid plan. You also have educational plans for guys who are students or are lecturers. So educational plan also is pretty cool, which you can use. A starter free plan is pretty great to start with. It has some limitations, and I will explain about them. but not something that will stop you from start working on Figma pretty quickly. Okay, recent files, drafts, you can have as many drafts as you want. Community, I will explain. You also have a place for your favorite files, which you can, if I'm putting this on a favorite, let's say add to your favorites, I'm going to see this file here, which is pretty great. I can just click on it and open it. That's cool. Yeah, they added that in the last release. That was at the time that I'm making this tutorial. It was like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks, something like that. Anyway, you can see maybe this tutorial in a few months from now. So of course it's it's like referring to the time that I'm doing this tutorial right now. Anyway, when you open the Figma at the first time, so you create, I guess that you should create a new theme. I gave it a name. A theme is like that. A theme is a folder, okay, which inside this folder you can have as many projects as you want. Each project, for example, if I'm clicking here, oh, let me see, learn about themes plan. Oh, so that means that I can open a project in a theme, but I can have 3 files. 1 second. Oh, okay, sorry. So that's, yeah, that's my mistake. So you have one project in the theme. So now I understand. Okay, so you see, that's where I got confused from what was before, because I didn't open a new account for a long time. So okay, these are part of the limitations that I wasn't familiar with, because I'm working with educational and professional teams. So again, so I'm not I wasn't into it that much. Okay, so in the theme, actually, which I can name this one any name that I want, rename, let's call it Yariv's project. Okay, Yariv's project. And in, oh, I called it, yeah something like that. Yeah, I missed the P. Okay, Yariv's project, and inside this project I can open 3 files. Okay, I can have 3 design files and 3 FigJam files, and these are the limitations that a free starter plan has. Meaning, what's important in opening a file inside a theme is that this is a file that I can share with people to edit together with me. This is what's important when a file is inside a theme. I mean, that's what makes the difference. I can have as many drafts as I want. I mean, I can make here 200, 300, 500 files, as many as I want, okay? But I can have only 3 files inside my theme, which is actually, this is the project, okay? And I can just click on that. I can delete that, and here I can open file deleted, thank you. Here I can open 3 design files and 3 FigJam files, which then I can share to other people to work with them together on these files. Okay, so that's the difference. Again, recent, of course, you're going to see all your recent files. Drafts, as I said, you can have as many as you want. Community, I will go a bit later. Okay, upgrade plan for unlimited design files in themes. Okay, so yeah, let's delete that for now. Here I have a switcher between accounts. Okay, I can switch between this account and this account, and yeah, this is actually, oh no, it just shows me this. Okay, because I was logged in before with other accounts, so he showed me all of them. Okay, so I have this account, I have the community, which I will show in a few minutes, I guess, or like in 10-15 minutes I will show it. So I can switch between the community, which I will show what is the community. As I said, I'm repeating myself already like 5 times already, I think. So I will stop doing that. And yeah, so if you have more accounts, by the way, you can have them all lined up here. So you can have a few accounts in Figma. Under actually one Figma, you can have a few accounts working. Okay, so here I have the switcher, as I said, and here I have my my account settings and configuration. So I have my name, I have the internal profile. This is kind of like more refers to a team. It doesn't really matter right now. Okay, how much files I made, what I contributed to the team, etc., etc. You can explore it yourself later. It doesn't matter. Plugins, of course, now I don't have any because that's a fresh new account. As I said, I opened a fresh new one. And settings, which here I have my name, I have my email, file notifications, yes, of course, comments and other use. When someone leaves you a comment on a file, it's gonna jump into my mail and notify me that I have a comment in Figma, and then I can click on it and jump into the file with that comment already opened. It will show me exactly what someone wrote to me. More that you have here, fonts. Okay, yeah. So when you're working on a browser, like I do, basically I work all the time on the browser. I prefer it even working on the desktop app because I love working on the browser. So you have here, you will see here, before I have it already installed, you will see here font installer. That means that it lets you, local fonts are enabled, meaning it lets you work with your local fonts even when you are working on your browser, okay, which is pretty cool. I see now that I have 658 fonts. Oh my god, so many fonts. I only use like maybe 4 or 6. Why do I have so many fonts? Anyway, doesn't matter. In Figma, to disable local fonts, blah blah blah, you can help article. Okay, doesn't matter right now. Libraries, I'm not going to go into libraries in this tutorial. It's kind of too much. And all the rest of the things here, never mind. No, really, it's too much to start with, and it's not necessary. Okay, so notifications here. When someone writes me a comment, I will get a notification. And let's click on new design file. Oh, they make it now. They made it lighter. Okay, nice. I guess nice or not, depends what you're used to. Doesn't really matter. When I'm saying they made this one lighter, it means that you can configure your working environment, the background of this big file. I can say canvas file, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, you can also make it a different color if you want. If you're more pleased to work on this background, so work on this background, that's okay. And you can, of course, customize your background. Feel free to do it as it's a nice and comfortable atmosphere for you to work. So you can do whatever you want. And I can click here, and this is to begin with. When I say they made it lighter, it used to be, if I'm not wrong, this one. Yeah, like that. This is how I'm used to work on it, so it doesn't matter. That's okay. Okay, so what are we seeing here actually? What is that message? I didn't write anything. Okay, that actually, it's, yeah, missing fonts. Exactly, these are missing fonts. So when you are writing something, I don't know why it shows me right now because there's nothing written here, so that's pretty weird. Anyway, Figma alert bug. What the hell is going on with that? Anyway, I didn't even write anything yet. So if I'm gonna write something or receive a file with fonts, so I'll see this message when there are missing fonts in this file, which I can install or maybe ask someone to send me if they do have it, etc. Okay, so what can I do with Figma? So 1 second, I copied something here which I wrote pre to this tutorial, which gives me kind of a list not to forget anything. So with Figma, I can plan user flows, screens, and experience with a design file and the FigJam file. I can wireframe for any screen, digital asset, design any UI, meaning user interface, and just about anything you want to design. Okay, because Figma, as I said, is a vector, if I said or not. Anyway, it's a vector-based platform, okay? If you are familiar with softwares like XD, Illustrator from Adobe, or other design softwares which are vector based, or Figma, in that particular thing, it's quite the same. Of course, it does things a bit different, but yeah, it's quite the same on that. Prototype, meaning demonstrate user experience, mostly of screens, but I don't know. You can either do a presentation or anything else you want to do, and prototype with interactions and movements on the screens, animations, etc. So you can do in Figma. Easily share your work files, and prototypes with clients, team in work, or anyone that you need to share with. So as you see in Figma, you can do a lot of stuff. Okay, great. A quick overview on working tools. So any screen begins actually with a frame. In Figma, you work with frames. Okay, Figma works a bit different than other maybe design softwares that you are familiar with, artboards or canvas. So everything that happens in your Figma file begins with a frame, basically when it's a screen, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can just take a shape and throw it on the general file. By the way, plus and minus on your keyboard is zoom in, zoom out. You can easily see all Figma shortcuts actually here. I mean, help and account, keyboard shortcuts. I never remember the shortcut. But anyway, you open it and then you can see all the shortcuts that you can use in Figma, essential, tools, view, zoom, etc., etc. So you can just click on any one of them and see all the shortcuts that you have. And of course you will remember, I guess, a few of them on your everyday work, but anyway, you can see them all lined up here and explore it. Feel free to do so. So I can just take a shape or anything that I want, just take the pen tool and do something with it and just throw it on the regular, I mean like on the canvas, just anywhere I want. If I want to design a screen, usually a screen, it's not even usually, I can say all the times, a screen, any screen, doesn't matter if it's a fixed preset size, or I mean not fixed, kind of like a preset size or any size, it happens in a frame. So as I said, a frame is the kind of, in a way of thinking, artboard or a canvas, but a frame actually, the way that Figma approaches it is that a frame is a content container. This is the main containers that contains the layout, all the content on your screen. Okay, you can have a frame. Actually, I think they made it too light. It used to be, by the way, like that, the default, which I think is a bit better because then you can see the frame. But anyway, you can adjust it any way that you want. As I said, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's a frame. This is kind of a screen, and if you see, when I hit the frame, I get also preset sizes for a phone, meaning a smartphone, a tablet, desktop. I can click on any one of them and just select the size that I want. Let's say if I want to work on a mobile phone screen, then I can click on the actually the names don't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter that that's an iPhone, because this frame, for example, when I click on it, as you see, it's going to give me a frame on the size that I clicked on, 375 by 812, but the name really doesn't matter. I can just call it screen 1 or homepage or whatever. Okay, so I'm giving it the name. And by the way, this screen proportions are good for all the new Android devices as well. So it really doesn't matter. The point that I'm making is that don't think that if you want to design a mobile phone, a mobile screen for Android, for the new Androids, and you don't see here Android or Samsung or whatever. I'm not trying to promote any company, it doesn't really matter. Samsung, Xiaomi, whatever, it doesn't matter. So don't think that if you don't see the name here, you can't do you can't design the screen. Of course, the names don't matter at all. Just making that point clear. Okay, so I have a frame which holds all my layout. I can, let's say, have a button, and I can have, I'm just doing it very schematically, yeah? And I'm having, let's say, an image and a button, and I'm gonna have some text here. Yeah, a very clever text, but anyway, something like that. So I have something on my screen, and this is already becoming a screen. I can also have a frame within this frame, I mean inside this frame. So this frame holds the content of the whole screen. I'm just kind of like giving you a way of work, okay? And this frame can hold a bunch of other elements. Yeah, something like that. Second. Okay, so now you see that this frame, yeah, I made it kind of like crappy. But anyway, doesn't matter because I didn't see it. I should have given it a field, then I would say it doesn't matter. So this frame holds all these 4 rectangles, and this frame holds all the screen. Okay, so that's the way that in general Figma works. I'm not going to go into what each one of them does exactly and so on, because that's going to be an endless tutorial, and that's not the time for it now. It's just a quick kick off and start with Figma. So your screens will be in frames, okay? I will give you also links to, you will see links in the description of this tutorial that will help you learn more in deep what is the difference between, let's say, a frame and a group. If you are coming from other design softwares, probably group is pretty intuitive for you to work, but in Figma, it's not the right way to work with, usually, okay? Groups, it depends for what, but usually it's better to work with frames. Don't get me wrong, you can have a bunch of 2 elements, select them together, hit your Control or Command G, or right click and group selection or frame selection. So you can either group these 2 rectangles. So now you made them a group. As you see, you have a different icon from a frame. This is the icon of the frame, which you see also here. And this is the dotted line around it, kind of like a 9 points rectangle, something like that. So that's a group. Okay, this is of course a default name, and when you go into this group, then you can see the rectangles inside it. Actually, in general, I didn't mention it, but of course I think you already understand. This is the layers panel, which here I can see all the layers, all the elements that I have inside this file, all of them, okay? And of course that each frame that has elements inside it, or a group, as we see here, by clicking on this small arrow, I can just go inside it and see whatever I have inside this frame, and it goes, you know, a drill down on and on and on. I mean, I can have this frame inside this frame, and I can have another frame inside this frame, and so on and so on, and it can go all the way to have like a million frames inside each other if I want to, and if that's what I need on my screen. Anyway, this panel, you know, I can make it either wider or narrower by dragging it, very easy. Layers, assets refer to components, which I'm not going to go into in this tutorial. I do have tutorials about components and variants and other stuff that you can do, very cool stuff, of course, more advanced stuff, but you can go to these tutorials and learn more, but not in this one. I can have more than 1 page on a file. When it's a free starter plan, I can have up to 3 pages in file. Instead of having different files, I can have a bunch of subjects which I need in the same file under pages. Okay, so let's say this one is going to be, let's say, wireframing. I can open by clicking on another page, and I will call this page let's say desktop, and I can have another page and mobile. Okay, so that's going to be, let's say, I don't know, some I don't know, just sketches and wireframes and whatever I did before, desktop and mobile. Of course, it's just an example. You can do whatever you want, and hitting the plus Oh, it does let me. Why? How come I can make another one? I don't know. Oh, maybe because it's not a file in a team. I don't know. I have to see why exactly. But I know that the starter plan has a limit of 3 pages. It should. Anyway, I'll check it out and understand why exactly. It doesn't really matter that much for now. Anyway, so hitting back on page one. So we go back to page one, and of course I can freely just copy, go into page two and paste it with actually mobile and paste it. Okay, so I have this frame with all the elements that I did before on the first page. I have it here, so of course I can freely copy from page to page and from a file to a file, just freely and easily copy between them. Okay, so as you understand, as I said, this is the layers panel. This panel is giving me all the manipulations and designs that I can do on any selected element. So if I select a group, it gives me everything I can do with a group. Okay, if I select a rectangle by double clicking on it inside a group, I'm getting all the manipulations that I can do on this rectangle. Okay, as for the frame, the same thing. Clicking once, I'm selecting actually the frame inside this frame. Double click again, I'm selecting the rectangle which is inside this frame. Actually, let's give it a color. Everything that I want to add and remove in Figma is by the plus. If I want to add a fill to this frame, I click on the plus. Now we don't see any change because the fill is white. If I'll change it to another color, then you're gonna see the fill inside. Of course, it looks terrible, but anyway, it doesn't matter now. Okay, so the frame, and then double clicking on the rectangle, I select the rectangle and get all the things that I can do with the rectangle. Okay, the frame has, the elements inside the frame has responsive behavior towards the frame that they are in. I have a great tutorial about the constraints, everything that you can do with elements inside a frame, and all the manipulations and the behavior that you can control on with elements inside a frame. Okay, so a bunch of tools that I have here: rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, etc., a star. So you can play with all these tools and see what each one of them is doing. Honestly, it's pretty straightforward, not anything very complicated. By the way, double clicking on each element that I throw on the screen, if I throw, let's say, I throw the star, for example, by the way, hitting the shift or holding the shift and just doing and sketching an element, putting an element on the screen, so it keeps it in its proportions. The star, I can do something like that. You can just play with all the shapes and see exactly what you can do with them and all the manipulations possible. So I have the presets of all these shapes. Place image, I can click and just place an image from my computer. I can also go into let's say nature, images, and I'm clicking on an image, right click, copy image. I can go back into my Figma and then just paste it and throw it inside Figma, and that's it. I don't have to save it anywhere else on my machine, on my computer. It's just in my file, and that's it. Yeah, pretty simple. And if I select a shape and Control or Command V, just paste it, so it's gonna paste it inside the shape. Okay, so that's the way it works. And again, I'm not going into too much functionality, just showing you kind of like heads up on what you can do. Anyway, the text, pretty straightforward. Click and then you can just write text or update your font installer to start using variable fonts. Okay, so that's related actually to the new abilities that they made on fonts. Okay, font installers, but I have it already. Windows installer. Okay, let's do it on my desktop. Okay, install, close. Okay, yes, thank you very much. And let's see what happens now. Let's refresh it. Let's see if we get this message again. If we do, that means that it doesn't matter I had the right one. No, it does actually. Okay, so I'm writing something, just using the text tool. Anyway, you can do something like that, and then you have all these configurations that you can do in your text. I think that you are pretty familiar with it, I guess, to myself. You can click here and have more options. This is a new option that Figma gave on the last release, that you can also play with the width of the, actually with the weight, more right to say, of, yeah, it does written rate weight. You can play with the weight of a font here, and it's you can scoop some of them. They don't have, all the fonts don't have the same things that you can do with them, but I guess that some of them have more, some of them have less, and that's okay. Anyway, you can explore the new features of Figma on its website. What else? Just for a quick one, I have the pen tool. So the pen tool behaves, if you are familiar with other design softwares, it's a pretty amazing pen tool. It's really comfortable and easy to work with. I can either close the shape like that. I can click here and do a straight line up to this point. And when I close a shape, sorry for the noise, I was hitting my keyboard, yeah. Working aggressively. Anyway, so I have a stroke which I can give it, I can give it any stroke that I want, any color that I want. I can plus, as I said, plus and minus. Okay, plus for a fill, and I can give it any fill that I want. I can lift the stroke, I can remove it, or just shut it off or remove it, and then I have this shape. By the way, you can edit separate dots, the corner radius on each point, actually separately. So you can all of them together or each one separately, very easy. Notice that again, when I'm hitting on a shape, when I double click or hit the enter, when I select a shape, I mean, I can double click on it or hit the enter on the keyboard, and then I go into the vector editing mode. Okay, so that means that I can add points to it. I can select a point and drag it. I can select the bend tool and just give it some bending. Let me just take, by the way, hitting the enter again, so you go out of the editing mode, and you can take the shape here and keep editing, hit it, and do it here or here, anyway, that you feel comfortable with. So by the way, selecting your, or actually holding your space bar, you can just go around the file like that, or actually I think, I mean, on PC anyway, I can hold the mouse wheel, actually I mean, press and hold the mouse wheel, and then I can do the same thing. Mac mouse, I guess that works a bit different, but I'm pretty sure it has the same abilities. And a comment, you can leave any comment you want anywhere in Figma. Enter, and then there is a comment from me. I can also tag people in these comments, and that's pretty powerful and easy to use. And I can just drag this comments after I made it. I can drag the comment to anywhere I want on the file and just place it like that. Okay, which is pretty good. What more? Okay, so the prototype goes for prototyping. Here already I have a prototyping abilities. Again, tutorials, I will give links to tutorials how to do prototyping when you will get to it, of course. And inspect, that's more for developers. Inspect mode, anything they click on. Diagrams in FigJam. Open this page in FigJam where you can quickly diagram logic trees, user flows, and more. Okay, not for now anyway. So anything I click on, so this is the handoff tab for the programmers, for the developers. Okay, so community, I'm just gonna go quickly on the community. I'll switch it from here, so I can just, by the way, you can work on different tabs. Oh, I didn't show the desktop app, which I will show as well. Okay, so different tabs, I can just open a new tab, figma.com, and as you see, I will go now into my homepage. Okay, so you can work on different tabs, you can open different files. I have a bunch of them open on just and work freely and just switch between them like that. Pretty easy. Okay, double click, I can either go to the same file that I'm working on here, which doesn't make too much sense, but sometimes if I need to, then yes. And I can double click on any other file and just go here. I can rename any file here, delete it, share it, copy the link of it, etc. So you have some stuff that you can do with it, of course, as I mentioned. What else? So different tabs, double click. So here I'm on a different file, okay, and I'm having a different file here and here, so that's pretty easy and straightforward. Back to files actually. So I'm getting back to my home page. This is my drafts, recent files. Yeah, it just didn't load. Anyway, I didn't talk about plugins. Okay, plugins actually, yeah, maybe I'm gonna give a word about it. So you know what, let's do it quickly. A plugin, and you have thousands of plugins in Figma actually. A plugin, if you are not familiar with plugins, it's just kind of like adding another functionality that doesn't exist in Figma. Sometimes it does in different ways and sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the plugin. So by the way, plugins, manage plugins and browse plugins in community. Manage plugins, I don't have any plugins installed yet because that's a fresh new account. As I said, on my regular working account, I have actually a lot of them, but I use very few of them. In development, you'll need the desktop app to create and manage your own plugins. Okay, so we're not quite there yet. But anyway, browse plugins in community, or I can go straight to it from here, and I can go also from here, by the way. Okay, plugins, same thing. Manage plugins and browse plugins in community. When I hit that, it already opens the community. And by the way, if I'm back to files here and I'm clicking that switch that I said about it a few times before, so hitting the community, it brings me, yes, as you imagined, into the community. So anyway, so in the community, what can I find? I can find a lot of files. If I need stuff from these files, I'm just saying it like in a very general way, I can just open the file in my Figma. It adds itself to my Figma and I can just copy or use anything I find there. So let's say, I don't know, mobile design. Okay, I clicked on mobile design. I can freely search here or hit the search here. So I'm seeing files that people just uploaded to the community, or just put in the community, that you can just freely open and take from them whatever you want. Okay, let's say, I don't know, I'm just clicking on this one, social media UI design. As you see, it was loaded into my Figma, or actually it loaded the file, but not in my Figma yet. Unless what want to pin a comment to a specific spot. Okay, doesn't matter right now. Anyway, so I can see whatever is in this file. I can hit the plus. Sometimes it shows here switcher on different pages on this file. Okay, so I can just kind of like look like that and see if there's something I like here and that I want to use or take to my files, I can click on the duplicate. The moment I do that, it opens itself in my Figma. Okay, that was asking me actually if I want to open it on the desktop app. Okay, so I will show the desktop app now. So I can just have these files in my Figma, and I can click this ones and release them from jail, and then I can just I can just, yeah, I mean, I can lock any layer or frame any element on the screen. I can just hit the lock and lock it, okay, or open it, and here I can just copy, take anything I want for my designs if I do see the need, or I want to use anything that happens here. Okay, this one, by the way, was, oh, they're all locked, I see, so that's why I couldn't click on them, because they are locked. Anyway, you can open them and just use them, and then I'm guessing to myself what goes around, what's here and here and here. Oh, I guess that this is an image. Okay, that's why. Yeah, yes, no. That's weird. Oh, okay, that was the background feel of the frame. Okay, that's why I couldn't kind of like take it. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't matter. So you can just copy freely anything you want from here and use it in your file. I said that I want to use this element, copy, and then I can go back to my account from here, and then I can double click. Now it's the first one because we are on recent files, so this is the first one here. That's the file that I copied, I duplicated from the community, so now it's already in my Figma. And like that you can take icons, illustrations, anything you want. So I can go back into my file and just paste the part that I copied from there. I already have it here. Okay, so you can just freely take whatever you need. Plugins, just a quick one. Plugins, I can just, again, as I said, browse plugins in community. I recommend to start with two. You can explore, of course, for anything that you need. Let's look for content reel. Why am I with caps? I don't know. Oh, because it's hit on my keyboard. So content reel install, and what content reel is installed, third-party plugin. Okay, install plugin. Anyway, so this plugin, by the way, what it does, that it can fill your files with avatar images, with text, and how to use a plugin. Okay, so I installed it. Okay, and then I go back to my file, plugin, and you see I have this plugin already here. By the way, if you install a plugin and you don't see it, just refresh your page, and that's it. Probably after that you will see it. Plugins, content reel, so I can open it. See, it opens, and then I can next, start, and then I can just, let's say, let me take an ellipse. Okay, so I have 3 of them here. What is going on? It doesn't do anything. Oh yeah, it woke up now. Okay, so images, let's say avatars. You say I have these 3 circles selected, and then I'm selecting this, and it fills it with avatars. How cool. Okay, nice avatars. Nice. Okay, anyway, so that's what plugins do. They do a bunch of stuff, and you can find a lot of cool plugins. Just go and explore community for, you can look for whatever you need. That's pretty cool. So this is one of them. And another plugin that you will probably need or want to use is called Iconify, which I recommend. By the way, I'm not promoting any plugin, so it's just out of my, I don't know, stuff that maybe you want to use. You can feel free to use whatever you want. Another one that you can look for is called Iconify. Yeah, so install this one, and when you install Iconify, again, going back to my plugins and opening Iconify, so you have a lot of icons that you can search for and explore here, and any icon that you need behaves kind of jumpy. Anyway, material symbols. So I can just take this one and throw it in my file. And where did it put it, by the way? Oh, it's here for some reason. Anyway, doesn't matter. So any icon basically is a vector icon, and you can manipulate it and do whatever you want with it. Usually when you take icons from other plugins, it puts it inside a frame. Okay, it's a frame which holds the vector itself. If you don't want the frame, or you want to put it in another frame, you can just take it out. You don't have to keep the frame. You can delete it and keep just the icon if you want. Okay, I guess that a walkthrough inside the file, that's pretty much it. And by the way, I'm not going into prototyping, okay, because this is going to be too much for this tutorial. I do have tutorials on prototyping, of course, deep and good ones, so I will give links. You will see links in the description of this tutorial there, and you can of course do these tutorials and learn more about prototyping between screens, interactive components, and so on. A lot of abilities in Figma. I can't cover them in, like, I don't know, a 30, 40, 50 minutes tutorial. It's impossible, but feel free to explore these tutorials. You can share a file, by the way, by hitting the share. Anyone with the link, you can also can view, can edit. Anyone with a link, only people invited to this file. And now actually they did enter the password thing. Why do I don't see it here? Okay, to editors first, move this file from drafts into a project. Oh yeah, and then the password comes, I guess. Okay, so move file, move to project. Move to project. I have a project here, Yariv's project. So move it and allow drafts. Okay, and now if I want to share it, still, why do I don't see the publish to community, invite. Okay, I don't get that. Anyway, doesn't matter. Can view, can edit. Anyone with a link, or only people invited to this file. Okay, sharing, so you can share, as I said. And I don't know if I explained or not, but in the beginning I think I did. So if it's inside a project of a team, then I can invite more editors to this file. Okay, if I want more, I think I can have up to 3 editors to a file. I guess if it's inside a team, maybe, I think so, something like that. But we can read it and explore it later on. Okay, so going back to files, as I said here, get the desktop app. So I'm going to open my desktop app, which is here. I'm going to click on it, and as you will see, actually the desktop app shows you exactly the same, by the way, as you see on your browser. It's exactly the same content. As I said, it's a web platform. So this desktop app, by the way, is exactly like a browser. Practically, it's a browser. It's a browser that shows you the content from the web, just maybe in a more comfortable way. I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no, depends, up to you. It doesn't really matter. You can work, again, either on the app or on your browser. It's the same exact thing. Okay, so there's no big difference there. More things to know. I think that for a starting tutorial, that's pretty much it, I guess. I said, I'm just thinking, okay, FigJam. Let me just jump in a FigJam file for, by the way, you have here FigJam basics, and you have here also some basic files that you can go and explore. Just hitting a FigJam. Okay, so we have a FigJam file. We entered into a FigJam file. Brainstorm, diagramming. Yeah, they have a lot of presets and things that you can actually select from here. But let's do it kind of like on a blank thing. pinch to zoom. Okay, that's when you're do it also with my, yeah, I can do it also with my touchpad on my laptop. Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, so what can you do here? You can take, this is for creating kind of like user flows, and you can do something like that. You can drag a shape to here. It's too big. Let's see, 1 second. Yeah. Okay, so I can decide if this is, I mean, what shape is it? Something like that. I can make it bigger if I want. I can select the color that I wanted. Do something like that. I can write anything I want. Let's say I'm going to write screen 1 and something that the screen contains. After I'm done with that, I can hit the plus and then write what's going to be on the second screen and on the third screen, etc. I can take another shape, do something, sorry, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Give it, let's say, another color. This is going to be kind of like a user decision, I guess, something like that. It could be, so I can take the arrow and say if the user clicks on yes, it takes him to here. If the user clicks on no, it's gonna take him to here. That's just, you know, throwing thing. Doesn't really matter what logic does it has. By the way, Control V, yeah, I can put it here, Control or Command V. So this is something that I copied from the other file. If you remember, it's still on my memory, on the computer's memory. So I just paste it here, and I can decide that this arrow actually, 1 second, want to take it from here aggressively and just put it to here. So if the user clicks on something, it can, of course, it can be any screen you can put here. You can put here an image, anything you want. Okay, I just had it on my memory, so I just throw it there, and I can take the arrow again and put it all the way to here. Something that's starting to look like a lab. Anyway, so that's what you can do with FigJam. Of course, it's very rough, and in general, yeah, I'm not going into deep things inside FigJam, but you can also like something that someone did. By the way, that's also for a teamwork. Each one that puts a note, you see his name, so you know who wrote you the note. Oh, hi there. That's there. They keep adding a lot of kind of like cool stuff to it. And or dislike, something like that, or just, I don't know. You can select stickers and just throw them on the files, templates, stickers, yeah, something like that. So you can freely work with that. So that's FigJam. Again, a lot of tutorials on it, a lot of other places to explore. I'm not getting into it now, but just to kind of like gives you a quick heads up what you can do with FigJam. Closing this file brings me back to my home page, and this is the desktop app. I'm reminding you, if I'll go back to the web platform, so recent files, again, you see exactly what you see on your desktop app. And as a starter, I think that this is already pretty much, I think that the tutorial even took longer than I thought, but it always does, I guess. As a start, I think it's a pretty good one, and of course keep exploring other tutorials to learn, of course, how to, you know, to get yourself more abilities and practices in Figma. And by the way, if you want another good way to learn, I'm just giving you kind of a heads up about it, so you know, I can just go into any file and then go, let's open another one, let's go into the community, and let's say mobile design again, or you know what, yeah, let's go into mobile design or web design, doesn't matter. Okay, no, mobile design, because these are smaller files. I guess. So anyway, if I'm, let's say, double clicking on this one and I want to see and understand how they made this kind of like background blur effect or something like that. So anyway, you can duplicate it, go into the file itself, and you can just, kind of like, I see that everyone locks their thing inside here. So you can just kind of like, when you click on it, okay, you say I clicked on it. So then you can see what the configurations that the guy who made it gave to this element. Okay, so you see a drop shadow and you see a background blur, and you can click on it and see the configurations of the drop shadow, of the background blur, see which color he used, what are the configurations that he used here, the text, buttons, etc. So just double click, feel free to explore, double click on stuff and see how they made it, and yeah, and you can learn a lot from it. Okay, by the way, control, when you hit control on your keyboard, control or command, you can select, you can easily select elements inside frames and inside groups, and layers, kind of like maybe sometimes hiding them a bit, so you can easily do that. Okay, so I can't say that the file is built very professional, in my opinion, the way that it's built. But yeah, you can just, for design wise, you can select on elements and see how they did them. So that's okay. Yeah, so that's a great way to learn as well. Okay, I've talked too much already, I think. So back to files, and thanks a lot for seeing this tutorial. Of course, you can't learn Figma in 30, 40, or 1 hour and just become a professional in Figma. No, spoiler, you can't. It's gonna take you some time, of course, but after a few months, when you're already kind of like deep into Figma and already doing a lot of stuff and designing in it, so you're gonna be, then you can be kind of like a professional already and know how to do a lot of stuff. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching this tutorial. I would appreciate a like and would love if you subscribe to my channel. Links to the next tutorials you should take after this one will be in the description of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching and finding the time for this. See you in the next tutorial, I guess. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.